Guys, I gotta tell you, confidence is something that has to be flexed like a muscle. It's one of those things where you either use it or you lose it. With that being said, you gotta use your confidence. If you don't, you'll forget that you even have it. A lot of us are conditioned in this world to stamp down any confidence we have or individuality. That's why people latch on to groups and they latch on to cults, and they do things just to feel like they belong. And there's advantages and disadvantages. The advantage, of course, is at least in a human cultural side of things, you won't be alone. But then on the flip side, you have to be very careful to not lose a sense of individuality, a sense of confidence. And a lot of men lose that because, to be frank, to be honest, they don't put themselves in situations where they can go against the culture, they can go against what is the status quo, and not just to be a rabble rouser, not just to be somebody that causes dissension, but just as a result of critical thinking. A lot of people stop themselves and stifle themselves from that just because they don't want trouble. And what that can do is that can lead to a lack of confidence. So when you have an idea or a feeling or a truth that you recognize that goes against what everyone else in your friend circle or your family or your workplace thinks, then it can be scary and it can be disconcerting. And I can think of times where I regrettably maybe didn't say as much as I should have, or I didn't stand up for myself or my values as much as I should have. And an older me now looks at the younger version of me and says, hey man, that only stifles and hurts your confidence. I'm not perfect, but I can say that now, having hit the age of 40, that I have a lot more confidence that I didn't have 5, 10, especially not 20 years ago. It's because as I've gotten older, I've realized more and more that my confidence isn't something to hide or to push away. It's something to be used, it's something to be exercised. It's okay to feel good about yourself. It's okay to be sure about yourself in certain situations, while also being humble in things that you're not as well educated on, or things that you're not so much of an expert on. And by the way, even if you're an expert on something, you can learn. Another thing that I've become more comfortable with as I've gotten older is I'm more comfortable with being wrong. If somebody has information that I can get value from, I'm willing to listen to that. You know, you fathers out there, parents, you want to keep that in mind, that you can be wrong sometimes, you can correct your mistakes, and you can grow from it. That's something I think a lot of parents tend to miss. They either overcorrect in one direction or the other. Either they're always right and never make a mistake, which can lead to resentment in your marriage and in the relationship with your children. And then on the flip side, you overcompensate and constantly doubt yourself and have no confidence whatsoever. You just go with the flow. You become one of those gentle parents that goes with whatever flow there is, and then your kids don't respect you or look at you as an equal or even a subordinate. And that's not right too. But you have to use your confidence. You have to put yourself in environments where you can, I don't want to say comfortable, because comfortable usually ends up equaling lazy, but to where you feel sure of yourself. We'll take the workplace, for example. A lot of us, I've been probably most of my life in this situation, and a lot of you can relate to this, but you have a job or a career that isn't the most fun, entertaining, braggadocious thing in the world, Yes, it pays the bills and it's not inherently terrible, but it doesn't make you feel the most confident because you kind of go through the motions. Okay, that's a lot of people. Some of us get really discouraged by that because we put our job, our career, as our identity. And let me just say this, that your identity, first and foremost, from the core, should come from a relationship with Jesus Christ. You are a child of God, which is the highest status that anybody can claim. But if you don't claim that and your foundation is based on more short-sighted things, more narrow definitions, in this case that I'm using, your job, then when things don't go your way, when they don't give you fulfillment, which they ultimately won't, you'll find yourself lacking in confidence. So if you're at a job that you don't necessarily like or love, but you put your livelihood into it, then that's pretty much all you'll be. That's all you'll pigeonhole yourself into. And that's why it's important to do things that build confidence, not just in one or two simple domains, but all encompassing. Because you want to have integrity. You want to be that confident person in the workplace, in your home, at school, at the gym, outside, inside. You want to be able to flex that confidence. So here's my advice for that. You want to put yourself in situations where you're going to be able to flourish. Everybody has something that they're at least pretty good at or they find pretty entertaining. Make some specific time for that. If you're really good at, painting, drawing, make a little time, even if it's just 15 minutes a day, even if it's just an hour a week. Make time to draw, make time to paint. If you like to write stories, if you like to write poetry, make a schedule. Something is, and it could be something as small as I'm going to write 1 page a week. Isn't that what John Grisham did? New York Times best-selling author. So he used to just write, I'm just going to write 1 page today. Eventually he wrote more pages, and then next thing you know, he's living a good life as being an author, New York Times bestseller, and all that good stuff. But the point I'm trying to make is make some specific concentrated time to where you can enjoy the gifts that God gave you and that you can exercise your confidence. If you're constantly in situations where you have to suppress or tamp down your own belief in yourself, your best qualities, for the sake of whatever it might be, to keep the peace, to keep your job, to pay your bills, whatever like that, your confidence eventually is going to fade away. And you'll have to start from scratch to build it back up. You don't want to ever get to that point. Because one of these days, that thing that you stifled your confidence for, that job, that career, that group of friends that wasn't uplifting you, one day those things are going to fade away. They're going to expire. That job is going to lay you off, or you're going to seek another job. That group of friends, they're going to, who knows, they move on, or even worse, they backstab you or stop associating with you, or maybe that's for the better if they're unsavory and unhealthy friends to be around. But if all your confidence is in those things, once they go away and fade away, which I guarantee they will at some point, you're left with nothing. And you'll be regretful as yourself that you wasted all that time pushing down your own self-worth, your own self-belief, the levels that God put you on just to make somebody else feel better. And that's not right. And your wife doesn't need that, and your kids don't need that. They need you to be confident. They need you to be the best, most confident, most stable person that you can be. So you have to exercise it. You have to make concentrated time. Now, one thing, again, that's very important is you have to realize that the time you make is probably not going to be all day and all night. Like, you're probably not going to have 8 hours a day to dedicate to something that you love, that you enjoy, that makes you confidence. You might have to pick your spots, especially if you're already ingrained. You got your family, you got your kids. You want to spend time with them and cherish them, of course, but you're going to be in situations where, again, like I was saying earlier, you might only have time to write 1 page a day, or draw, or write, or do whatever fun activity that gives you confidence for 10, 15 minutes a day. But it's better than zero. Don't get so caught up in this all or nothing mentality that you have to either devote your life to something or not do it at all. Don't be that kind of person. But I'm telling you, you must exercise it. Again, confidence is like a muscle. Just like you exercise your arms, your shoulders, your legs, your quads, hamstrings, all that kind of stuff. All those things take time. And I can tell you just from personal experience, especially as a personal trainer, that you don't need to dedicate 3-4 hours a day to do that stuff. If you can carve out 15 or 20 minutes a day, you can do a lot of good things. And it's especially better than 0 minutes a day. So keep that in mind. Keep your confidence up. It'll make you a better husband. It'll make you a better father. It'll make you a better coworker, a friend, a minister to the Lord, all kinds of things. But focus on building up your confidence. And if you're in something, again, that is tearing down your confidence and you don't do anything to even that out, neutralize it, it might be time to take a self-assessment. So that's what I have to say, guys. Peace. God bless you. I'm out.